Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you are having an awesome weekend so far. Welcome Sarah, our chat moderator. Hi, how are you? Welcome Masanate, Alexi, Domenico, Raquea. Nice to see you in the class. Students, we are looking at IELTS Speaking Part 2. Talking about an idea to protect nature. This lesson, everybody, is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Visit us there. For general IELTS, check out gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that power these live lessons. They are the textbooks, the videos, the audio materials that we use in these live classes. So if you like these live classes and you want to maximize your learning, check them out. This is aehelp.com. Click this big red button that's just right above my head there to join the premium version of the course. It's a one-time payment and you get lifetime access. We're an IDP affiliate, a British Council partner, IELTS Test Registration Center, certified British Council agents, so you are in great hands with us. Our general IELTS website looks like this with the green background. Again, click this big red button to join the premium version of the course. We will use this website in a little bit to interact with our students. So click that button and then you can use the discount code DO9TY, I think. Yeah, DO9TY. That discount code is coming from our most recent video release. We also have apps for you from your app stores. Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. Those apps will link to your web accounts. Instagram, IELTS_AE Help and GIELTS Help. That will give you some vocabulary, some more videos, reels, as well as schedules for live classes. You can also get the schedules by subscribing to our YouTube channel, so make sure to do that. And you can also get answers to questions by sending me an email to adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. Welcome Andrew. Welcome Bogdan Makrand. Nice to see more of our members joining in. All right, Amazon has our exam books. You can get those. AE Helps Academic IELTS and GE Helps General IELTS. There's two for each, for the general and the academic. Those practice exams are exactly like the real test, so you can get those from the premium course, or you can just buy the hard copy paper book from Amazon. Students, so we've got this speaking part 2, and then after speaking part 2, we have a speaking part 3. Speaking part 2, speaking part 3 are connected. That's why we like doing these two classes together. So we'll have speaking part 3 in roughly 2 hours from now, a little bit less. And then no class Sunday to Wednesday, and I am back with more live classes on Thursday. So make sure to mark that in your calendar. And we've got this schedule. It's going to be posted on the YouTube channel board for everybody, the community posts. So definitely subscribe so you get these notifications, especially new video releases. We've got another new video coming for you in a day or two. Check that out. I'll put that link into the chat. There you go. Let's make it a different color. Let's make it green there. Okay, everyone, let's get into some IELTS speaking practice for part 2. This is where you really get to shine and show your English, where you get to talk and you're not limited by 1 or 2 sentences, but you get to talk for 1 to 2 minutes continuously. And that is the turning point of your IELTS speaking interview. So IELTS speaking part 2, IELTS speaking part 3, that's really where those higher band scores are decided. So band 6, 7, 8, 9. Simply because that's where the examiner can get a really good idea of your fluency, of your coherence, your grammatical range and accuracy. So you really want to practice part 2. Let me pull this up a little bit more. There we go. IELTS speaking part 2. Let's take a look at this cue card for today. So the speaking part 2, there's basically 5 different possible categories. Okay, so the cue card is usually focusing either on a person, a place, an object, an idea, or an event. Okay, and you're in your IELTS speaking, you're speaking for about 5 minutes, and then the examiner says that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to read these, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. You can take notes in the 1 minute preparation time if you wish. Okay, now this is a speaking class, everybody, so make sure to speak and repeat. Let me make this a little bit bigger for everybody. It'll be easier on the eyes. Let's do that. Okay. Alexi, 23rd of June is your exam. That's good. Gives you a little over 4 months to get prepared. That's a good amount of time. Okay. All right. 23rd of June, you can schedule it that far ahead. I didn't know. I thought it wasn't quite possible, but I guess I could be wrong. All right. So students, this is speaking. So speak and repeat. So the examiner will say, talk about an idea you have had about protecting the environment. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. And then they show you these questions. If you're face to face, they show it to you in a little booklet. If you are in the computer base, then it will come up on your screen. Okay. All right. So, the first step, read all of the questions in the booklet carefully, even the one that the examiner says. So even though the examiner says talk about an idea you have had about protecting the environment, you still want to read that, okay? And we kind of have this theme this week. Some of you probably remember that yesterday listening part 4 was about climate change. And in this class, or in these classes, I try to do my best to have related ideas throughout the week so that you can really focus on contextual vocabulary. So remember some of that vocabulary from yesterday's listening class that's related to saving the environment? Members, do you remember any of that vocabulary that was specific to helping the environment in yesterday's listening session? So you'll notice, and I don't always emphasize this, but I'm hoping people notice that I do my best to relate ideas among the writing, the listening, the reading, just so that you can learn contextual vocabulary. Okay, so Raquea says, yes, I remember. Raquea says, yesterday we learned the word green products. Okay, so these are products or merchandise that is created with the environment in mind. Yes. Okay, Raquea, very good. True cost tax. Good. So true cost tax means to increase the cost of certain products that pollute, to discourage consumption. Okay, good. All right. Jane says farming and using light bulbs. Jane, it wasn't just light bulbs. It was some kind of light bulbs. Okay. Andrew says, I want to add fair trade. Andrew, fair trade is more socio-political, economical than environmental. Fair trade isn't necessarily beneficial for the environment. That has more to do with equal exchange or fair exchange between people. All right. Chayani says carbon dioxide. Yes. Which is the chief air pollutant, right? Sure. And Jane, did you remember it wasn't just, it's not rechargeable light bulbs, Requia, that was rechargeable batteries, right? Or it was energy efficient light bulbs, right? Andrew, that's right, greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect is when the heat of the sun is trapped by pollution in the atmosphere, right? Okay, so keep those thoughts in mind, all right? It's really important to make those connections and to recall these important ideas. So think about yesterday's listening as we tackle today's speaking part 2. Okay, again, back to the questions on the card here. Talk about an idea you have had about protecting the environment. What is the idea? Why and when did you think of this? What would you need to make this idea a reality? How would your idea help to protect nature? Okay, good. So, next step, step 2. We've read the card carefully. I actually recommend reading the card twice, just so you're absolutely clear. And then step 2, identify the category and the tense of the questions. So here, it was a spoiler. The category is an idea, okay? And when you talk about an idea, what should you include for the story to make sense for the listener? So what concepts do you need to include into discussing an idea for your audience? And this is very important, not just for IELTS, but for example, if you have a business idea that you're pitching to investors, right? This is the same structure that you should follow. Or if you have an idea for a school project that you're pitching to your peers that are going to work with you. So what should you include in that idea or in discussing that idea? While you're thinking about that, Domenico says, as a marine biologist and my unbridled affection that I have for Mother Nature and love for the beauty and intricacies of the natural world, I'm churning out various ideas. Really nice vocabulary, Domenico. I'm looking forward to those churned out ideas. Okay, so Chayani says the idea must have a purpose. Yes. So what is the purpose of the idea? Absolutely, Chayani. That's basically what kind of a situation is it solving, or what kind of a problem is it solving, or what kind of advancement is it generating. So the purpose of the idea. Even before that, what else do we have? Bogdan says a description of the idea. Yes, we can say that. The description of the idea should be thought of a little bit differently in this case, Bogdan. So it's not quite like describing a person, a place, or an object. So it's not like a physical manifestation, right? It's not it's not like my coffee cup here. We can't really describe it in the same sense, right? So what else? Purpose is good. We need some other some other parts here. All right. Yanni says, planning the idea. What is required in the planning of the idea? Okay. So you need to talk about the origin of the idea. So where does your idea come from, right? So what's the origin of your idea? Okay. The purpose of the idea is good too. Yanni says the material. Yeah, so Yanni, it's not necessarily a material because it's not necessarily physical, but the requirements, right? So what is needed for the idea? So you have the origin, you have the purpose, you have the requirements of the idea, okay? What else? What else when you're talking about an idea? Yeah, that's right, Jatinder. The results or the expected results, right, of the idea. Okay? Absolutely. Utilization, Raquea, would be purpose. Okay? So origin, purpose, requirements, results, and what else? Think about it, especially if you have done or if you have completed the idea. Okay. So Jian says circumstances. Jian, the circumstances of the idea are the requirements, right? Macron says consequences. Consequences are kind of the results, right? So the last step could be the improvements, which we don't always know until we've executed or have done the idea, but we always want to review and revise, right? So it's done, we figure out what can we improve, how can we improve it, and then we implement again. So most importantly, students, this is what you need to focus on when discussing an idea. The origin of the idea, where does it come from? When did you think about it? Where were you when you thought about it? The purpose of the idea. So what kind of a situation does this idea create? What does it solve? What kind of a problem? What's needed for it? Okay, do you need investment? Do you need money? Do you need a certain temperature? Do you need a certain amount of people, employees? What are the results? Okay, so what are you expecting for this idea to yield? All right. And the improvements, how can you make this idea even better? All right, so if you go through these and you think about a couple of sentences for each, then you will have a nice, well-rounded concept. All right, does that make sense, everybody? So these are the keys. This is the key. If you have this kind of a question, talk about an idea, this is what you should think about in this order. Okay, so origin first, purpose second, requirements third, results fourth, improvements fifth. Raquea says yes. You can literally use these words in your speaking answer, students. So you can say the origin of my idea to recycle used bicycles comes from noticing the many old bikes discarded around the city. Okay, the origin. Okay, so there you go. You can literally use the word origin in your sentence. You can literally say the purpose of recycling bikes is not only to decrease the amount of metal, plastic, and rubber waste, but also to encourage people to ride bikes instead of using cars, thereby reducing carbon emissions. Okay. All right. So I'm literally using the word purpose in my response here. All right. And then I can literally use requirements. The requirements to make this idea a reality include public awareness, at least a dozen volunteers to get it off the ground, and about $10,000 for advertising costs to let citizens know about the new bike recycling program in my community of Victoria. Okay, so here I'm literally using requirements. Okay, all right. So it's very technical, and you want to sound original and human, right? But here I'm just showing you that spontaneously, I literally just came up with the bike recycling concept, and it's not a new concept. It exists. Some of you may have seen this kind of initiative in your city or in your country where there's a bicycle recycling program. There are international bike recycling programs as well, where bikes from the US and Canada are sent to other parts of the world for further use. But in the IELTS, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, okay? So you don't actually have to create some completely original idea to protect nature, all right? So don't think that the IELTS is expecting you to come up with a master's thesis on the spot, okay? This would work, for example. So bicycle recycling, all right? Everybody sees how you can literally, like, if you get stuck, you can apply the terms origin, purpose, requirements. And I even decided to make it really clear for everybody to keep the same word form. But you can, of course, use different word forms, like this idea will require, okay? So different word forms as well. Okay. All right. Everybody clear on that? That you can literally use those terms in that order to discuss an idea? Yeah? Okay, so that's step 2. All right. Good. Andrew says, triple thumbs up. Alexi says, yes, got it. All right. Okay. So here, the tense as well. Okay, step 2, it's not just to identify the category, but you also want to identify the tense. It's very important that you're reflecting the grammar used by the questions in the exam. It's very important for those high band scores. So when you read this, it says, talk about an idea you have had about protecting the environment. Okay. What is the grammar of this this topic sentence? I see lots of thumbs up. Macron Domenico with quintuple or quintuple. Sarah says it's past. Not quite, Sarah. Andrew says it's present perfect. Not quite, Andrew. Macron says it is past perfect. Sorry. Yeah, present perfect. Yes. Andrew's correct. I thought it was past perfect again, but no, it's present perfect. It's present perfect because this is the infinitive or the past participle, right? That had. And this have is the auxiliary verb for the present perfect. So you are right, Andrew. Yes. You are right. It is present perfect. So talk about an idea you have had. That second had is not past perfect. That's actually the infinitive or the past participle for have in this case. Okay. So yes, it's present perfect. Why? Why is the question in present perfect? Okay. What do you think? So this question uses the present perfect, and the answer should too, because why? Why use the present perfect in this context? And you're right, there is some other types of grammar in there, Yanni. So there's some past that we're going to use, maybe some conditional. Okay. So Andrew says the question asks about your experience. That's right, because it is asking about your experience. It has a sense of expectation and continuity. Okay. So remember, present perfect, it's an event that starts in the past, it continues until now and into the future. So you want to include that into your answer. So here, for instance, with my bicycle recycling program, right? I started off by saying the origin of my idea to recycle used bicycles comes from noticing the many old bikes that have been discarded around the city, especially over the past 10 years. So I've turned this sentence now into present perfect. So I'm reflecting this experience. I have been thinking about this for quite some time, since I myself ride a bike to commute to both work and school. Okay, so I have been thinking. All right, there's another present perfect. All right. The purpose of recycling bikes is not only to decrease the amount of metal, plastic, and rubber waste, but also to encourage people to ride bikes instead of using cars, thereby reducing carbon emissions. Okay. Can you give me a sentence with present perfect that goes after this one here? So give me a present perfect that makes sense to follow up this sentence. Okay, right there. Let's see what you come up with. So again, the preceding sentence is this: the purpose of recycling bikes is not only to decrease the amount of metal, plastic, and rubber waste, but also to encourage people to ride bikes instead of using cars, thereby reducing carbon emissions. Give me a nice full sentence answer full sentence in present perfect following this sentence, okay? So again, keep thinking about purpose. Think about that last word, carbon emissions, and you can come up with a really pretty sentence, I think, here using the present perfect, okay? That's right, Raquea. The issue is also current. Keep that in mind. And remember what I said about the listening that we just did yesterday. Hint, hint. There's some good information that you could use for a present perfect sentence here. Okay? So give me a nice present perfect sentence. Okay? I don't want to spoil it. I'm trying to give you a little bit of a head start so I don't spoil this sentence for you. Okay? Let me show you how I would start this off. CO2 has been the chief contributor to greenhouse effect that leads to climate change and the destruction of both flora and fauna. Okay, so that could be a good sentence here. So CO2 has been the chief contributor. This is literally coming right out of the listening audio yesterday. So CO2 has been the chief contributor to the greenhouse effect that leads to climate change, or that has led, I can even do another present perfect here, to climate change and the destruction of flora and fauna. Okay, let's see. Domenico says the purpose of this idea is to close down the oil refinery. All right, Domenico, you're on a different tangent there. Stay on track here. And if you are on a different tangent, Domenico, and you're talking about the oil refinery, then make sure to use present perfect. Okay? All right. Dewey says, I have come up with this idea for at least 3 years. Dewey, in present perfect, we usually don't specify the time range. So I have come up with this idea in order to achieve a better functioning society. It's a little bit off, Dewey. You need to rethink that present perfect. Okay? All right. So, present perfect, absolutely, very important. What is the idea? Present tense. Why and when did you think of this? Past tense. What would you need to make this idea a reality? Conditional. How would your idea help to protect nature? Another conditional, right? So those are the different tenses and grammar forms that are in this question. Okay? All right. Okay, students, so step 2, you identify the category and you identify the tense of the communication in this case, and then you focus on those, all right? Now, step 3, what is step 3? So once you have done all that, once you have read the question carefully, once you have identified the category as an idea in this case, and you've come up with the tenses. What is step number 3? What do you need to do? No, Chayani, not make the first sentence. That's going to be your 5th step. Yes, Andrew, that's right. Come up with 2 to 3 ideas. So come up with 2 to 3 good possible answers. So I've come up with bike recycling, right? Okay. Anji, welcome to our group of members. Join in on the chat. Nice to have you on board. Okay. Oh, and send me an email, Anji, so I can hook you up with those exclusive videos, okay? So bike recycling. What are some other good ideas? Each person must plant a tree. Raquea, that's a good idea. Let's try to give that some kind of a good name. Baby tree program. Every person must have a baby tree. Okay, Yanni, reducing plastic bags is a good one, but it's kind of old. It's too popular, and it's basically done. There's no plastic bags. In fact, something interesting, in Victoria, where I live, in downtown, they no longer give you bags. So if you come to visit my city, make sure that you take a bag with you when you go downtown shopping, because they don't give you bags. You can buy a bag, of course, but they don't give you bags. No paper bag, no reusable bags, nothing. And many stores don't have bags. So if you forget to take a bag with you, you're going to have to carry it in your pockets, in your hands. Okay? It's kind of interesting. And a lot of cities and countries follow the trends that start in Canada. So don't be surprised if in the near future there will be no bags available in stores. Okay. All right. Dewey says a bike share program. Sure. There's definitely a car share program. Right? Okay. Macron, increasing use of solar energy. So, sure. How about free solar energy? Ooh, now you're going to make a couple of those oil tycoons angry. A free solar energy program. Okay. Energy efficient house. Sure. Yes. All right. Alexi, renewable energy. Energy popularization. When you make an idea popular, Alexi, it's popularization. Renewable energy popularization. Okay. Good. Jatinder says dumping waste instead of throwing it. Well, I hope that's already happening. That would be, I think, a minimum. Good, Macron. So beach cleaning program. Yes. So yes. There was the Team Seas program that YouTube was doing. That big promotion there for Team Seas. Absolutely. Okay, good. So you've got some great ideas here. I think many of these would work for an answer, so think about those. Step 4 is to come up with notes, okay? Useful notes, all right? So as I did, and you want to think of origin, right? So 10 years, biking to work, okay? You want to think about the purpose, reduce waste, decrease CO2, all right? And useful notes, so notes that you can use while you're speaking, okay? Requirement, right? So $10,000 for ads, 12 volunteers, okay? Maybe we need 2 big trucks to pick up the bikes around the city that are being discarded, right? You need some training for people how to fix those bikes, okay? Results, okay? Fit, happy society, less greenhouse, 5 tons of saved metal, for instance, okay? So those are the results. Improvements, make program international, okay? Those could be the improvements. So these are my useful notes, and notice how fast I did them, so way less than a minute, right? That's about it. That's all I need for my notes. So I've got origin, purpose, requirements. Now, students, when you're in the actual IELTS, you don't need to write down origin. You should just go with the letter O, okay? Or you should just go with the letter P, okay? So minimize, you don't need the equal sign, right? So minimize your writing time and just really focus on the concepts, all right? Makes sense? Okay, and then step 5, of course, is to come up with your first sentence. Get your first sentence ready. Very, very important. So get your first sentence ready using the topic of the question, or the topic question. I should say it like this. Topic question. Okay, so very, very important. So here, the topic question is, again, talk about an idea you have had about protecting the environment, okay? Yanni, 10K ads means $10,000 for ads. K is 1,000. Okay. And the dollar, that's just in my head. I don't need that. Okay. So here, my first sentence would be a great idea that I have come up with in recent years to help safeguard nature is to start a bicycle recycling program in my city of Victoria. Okay? So there is my first sentence. So when the examiner says, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up, please begin speaking, then I can say, a great idea that I have come up with in recent years to help safeguard nature is to start a bicycle recycling program in my city of Victoria. The origin of my idea to recycle used bikes comes from noticing the many old bikes that have been discarded around the city, especially over the past 10 years. I have been thinking about this for quite some time since I myself ride a bike to commute to both work and school. The purpose of recycling bikes is not only to decrease the amount of metal, plastic, and rubber waste, but also to encourage people to ride bikes instead of using cars, thereby reducing carbon emissions. CO2 has been the chief contributor to the greenhouse effect that has led to climate change and the destruction of flora and fauna. The requirements to make this idea a reality include public awareness, at least a dozen volunteers, a couple of trucks to pick up the bikes, and then this part goes before, right? It should go here. Let me fix that. Okay. And a couple of trucks to pick up the bikes. Okay. Once implemented, this idea would reduce metal waste by several tons each year, as well as several thousand cars for commute in the downtown area. In future years, with the success of this bike program, I would love to make it an international phenomenon. Okay, so this is my idea to help protect nature. So this is my concluding sentence here. Okay. And that's a good way to let the examiner know that I've finished. I'm sure many of you got that feeling that, oh, okay, Adrian's finishing up his idea to protect nature. Okay. So there's my answer. Again, this is a speaking class, everybody. So focus in. You can feel I'm pretty energetic today and I want to get a lot done with you. So I'm going to go over my answer again. And then members, I'm going to give you a chance to come up with your own an answer. And just by the chat and the slowing of your comments, I have a feeling that you're thinking about your own ideas, your own part 2 response for this, which is great because you're going to have the chance to give that part 2 response very, very soon here. Okay. All right, everybody, doing great so far. Okay, so let's take a look at the original question one more time. Talk about an idea you have had about protecting the environment. What is the idea? Why and when did you think of this? What would you need to make this idea a reality? How would your idea help to protect nature? Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. Students, copy what I say here, okay? So a great idea that I have come up with in recent years to help safeguard nature is to start a bicycle recycling program in my city of Victoria. The origin of my idea to recycle used bicycles comes from noticing the many old bikes that have been discarded around the city, especially over the past 10 years. I have been thinking about this for quite some time since I myself ride a bike to commute to both work and school. The purpose of recycling bikes is not only to decrease the amount of metal, plastic, and rubber waste, but also to encourage people to ride bikes instead of using cars, thereby reducing carbon emissions. CO2 has been the chief contributor to greenhouse effect that has led to climate change and the destruction of flora and fauna. The requirements to make this idea reality include public awareness, at least a dozen volunteers, a couple of trucks to pick up the discarded bikes, some trained volunteers to help fix the bikes and donate them to the needy people in public and to commuters. To get it off the ground, I need $10,000 for advertising. Once implemented, this idea would reduce metal waste by several tons each year, as well as get several hundred cars off the road in the downtown area. In future years, with success, I would like to make this an international phenomenon. So this is my idea to help protect nature. All right, now that's a fluent, complete Band 9 answer. If you weren't able to keep up, that's okay. You can watch this video again and again, especially this part of the video. It's at 46 minutes, 45 minutes, okay? And then you can practice it even more. Students, members, let's do this together. So for new members to volunteer for speaking, go to aehelp.com, log into your My Student account. Okay, this is aehelp.com here. You can join the premium version of the course by clicking this big red button there. Okay. And then once you're in there, you're in your My Student account, click on this student partner speaking right there. And once you clicked on that, you'll be in the chat interface. Okay. Once you are in the chat interface, especially you members, you will have a chance to volunteer and try this part too. Lots of members in the class today, so I would love to see some volunteers here. The way you volunteer is you find me. You will see me as Master. Okay. And once you have found me, then you can click the blue envelope that's right next to my name, okay? And send me a message, say, I want to volunteer. Okay, and then we can do that. All right. Premium members, I'm also looking at you as well. If your name is different from your membership name in YouTube, let me know so that I can match it up. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's take a look here. Let's go with Dewey to start off today. Dewey, are you ready? Hi, Dewey.
Hi, Adrian. How are you doing?
I am doing quite well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing in Paris, France today?
I'm doing very well as well. It's a very beautiful day in Paris today, so I'm very
N-
happy.
Nice, nice, nice. Dewey, if I remember correctly, you are an engineer, right?
Yes, it's correct. Yeah.
So, do you deal with the concept of the environment in your profession?
Yeah, because recently in France, in particular, the government has announced that all their buildings have to be more energy efficient. So I do a lot of calculation to improve the energy efficiency of buildings around France, and I design some structures to improve it.
Awesome. Okay, so it sounds like this topic is would be a lucky one for you in the IELTS. So it'd be up your alley a little bit, right?
Yeah, I might know a little bit of vocabulary, but
Right.
actually, I'm not going to talk about energy efficient in my talk for today.
Okay. All right. Challenging yourself. Great to hear. Okay, Dewey, I will start you off then, and I will listen to your part two response and then give you feedback based on your answer. Here we go. So that is the end of part one. We will now continue with part two. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to think about your answer and 1 to 2 minutes to speak. Talk about an idea you have had about protecting the environment. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Yeah, so let me tell you about a solution that might help to improve the environment that I have thought about around 4 years ago while I was on a field trip with my class in Amsterdam. As you may know, Amsterdam is synonymous with plenty of green spaces and fresh air, and mostly with thousands of bicycles around the city. I was just amazed by the scheme of bike utility in this city. And at one moment during my trip, the idea of applying the same model in Paris, the city I've been living in for the last 6 years, just kind of popped into my head. So basically, the idea is to rent out bicycles, both main powered and electric bikes, for the local residents and tourists to use in their daily trips around the city. If Paris could successfully apply this bike sharing program, it would help to improve the environment and the city's air quality immensely. In order to make it happen, I would write to the city mayors to explain to her all the benefits this transition would bring to our lovely city, not only for the environment, but also for the traffic jams problem. I would also write a blog advocating for the advantages of riding bikes to the environment and also to our health. As bikes are indisputably the greenest means of transport, using it instead of the other options would help to reduce our carbon footprint released by our vehicles. Moreover, this bike sharing scheme is also a very sustainable way of transport in a sense that the bike itself would have a much longer lifespan compared to bikes owned by individuals because they would be frequently taken care of by renting company. So for all these reasons above, I think this solution would be a big help for the environment.
Okay, I'll stop you there. Your time is up, and we will now continue with part three. All right, Dewey, that was fantastic. Very nice. So, kind of in line with the bike recycling program, but a little bit of a different angle or a different approach. And Dewey, first of all, the band score. So that would be about a band 8.5. Okay, so almost a perfect 9. Aside from a couple of slight mistakes with grammar, it was wonderful. So the answer was detailed. You included a lot of good information. I think, be careful with the amount of details. So especially when you started talking about the requirements and writing to the mayor of Paris, I think you were over speaking a little bit there, and there's a chance that an examiner would cut you off at that point when you're digressing that much or going that far with your thoughts. So just a couple of sentences less there, and then more towards the conclusion, because you already answered the question. So just go to the conclusion. So this idea would help to protect nature should have come 20 seconds earlier, let's say. Okay.
Yeah.
So just those slight grammar corrections, a little bit more concise near the end, and you are on your way to a perfect band 9. Okay. You used some very nice vocabulary. You started by saying, so let me tell you about a solution that might help to protect the environment that I have thought about. So you paid attention to using the present perfect a few years ago. While on a field trip with my class, I loved your use of connectives, Dewey. That's really good. I can see that you've been practicing these complex grammar form or complex sentences. And complex sentences are absolutely critical to get into the band 7, 8, 9 categories. So for everybody who's watching, you need to do exactly what Dewey did here using these kinds of connectives, like while on a field trip with my class to Amsterdam. Nice use of natural language, Dewey. The idea of applying the same model. Very nice, clean, professional language. Okay. So the idea here is basically a bike rental system, right?
Exactly.
For the citizens. And that might also include more bicycle lanes and infrastructure for bike commuters. Okay. Good. So the idea I thought was quite clear for me, what you wanted to do. It's not extremely original, right? So it exists just like my bike recycling program. It exists. So I'm sure in Paris there are opportunities for people to rent bikes. But it works, okay? Again, so on the IELTS, the examiner is not going to be like, well, I'm pretty sure Paris has some kind of bicycle program. So no, they don't do that. So they're just focusing on you. And it's really important not to try to reinvent the wheel in the IELTS. So you did a good job there. Careful with there's some slight little oddity sometimes in your language, Dewey, like you said, the traffic jams problem. It would be more natural to say the problem of traffic jams.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, so try that one. The problem of traffic jams.
The problem of traffic jams.
Yeah. These are little details, and you can improve this part of your language, Dewey, by really paying attention to what you say, reviewing it, so recording it when you have a chance, recording it. And they can smooth themselves out. Also, when you're in certain groups of friends or colleagues, tell them to correct you. So say, I know my English is fairly good, but I would love to improve it even further. And I would really appreciate if you can correct me when you hear me say or use incorrect English. So if you have somebody who's a native English speaker in your workplace or in your social group, let them know that you're open to corrections because, okay?
That's exactly the problem because during my social circle, I don't have anyone who is a native English speaker right now. I only speak French on a daily basis.
Well, some French people speak English very, very well. So you can even, if you know someone like that, you can let them know. But yes, I know that can be tricky for sure.
Yeah, but as usual, thank you very much, Adrian, for your feedback. It's definitely helped me immensely.
Okay, you're very welcome, Dewey. Very nice, structured communication. So keep it up, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Bye-bye. Bye. All right, that was Dewey, an engineer who indeed deals with environmental friendly ideas on a regular basis. Okay, good. All right, who else is in here? Gian, you're one of our members here. Let me give Gian a chance. I'm trying to remember who had the chance earlier this week in live classes. I'm trying to give everybody who hasn't had a chance yet to speak. So I'm not sure. I think Gian, maybe you have not had the chance. So Gian, are you ready? Okay, and if you're a member, let me know. All right, hop in on the YouTube chat and let me know that you're in here. Okay. This is primarily members chat class, but we do have an all chat class coming up where everybody will be able to volunteer in here. Okay, Gian says yes. Hi, Gian. How are you?
Yes, good evening. I'm fine. I'm great. How are you?
I am doing pretty good, thank you. Gian, can you remind me again where you are in the world?
Yeah, I'm calling from the Philippines, and
Okay. hmm
yeah,
Whereabouts in the
I think this is my
Philippines?
second time to talk to you.
Yeah, I think it is too. Whereabouts in the Philippines are you?
I was in Iloilo, one of the great island here in the Philippines.
And do people pay attention to the environment in your area?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, good to hear. Yeah, because Philippines is such a beautiful place, right?
Yeah.
With so much nature to take care of. All right. Well, let me start you off, and then just like with Dewey, I will give you some feedback. I will estimate your score. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Yeah. I'll try.
Okay. All right. Talk about an idea you have had about protecting the environment. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay. During rainy season in the month of June to August of the year, calamities such as typhoon, flood, and landslide are inevitable in my country, Philippines. This natural disaster was challenging to our community since those circumstances involve environment. And this is certain time, a great idea have had came up to my mind, which is called a one-to-one reforestation ratio. It defined as planting trees to the empty mountainous areas, and every member of the community are required to plant trees each, one member to one trees. This concept, uh, to make this concept turn into reality, proposing to my local government unit and to put it into the law could make this mission to be implemented. The idea could help to protect the nature wherein far-reaching roots able to hold soil in place and fight erosion as well. Also, trees absorb to store rainwater and so to reduce its runoff after storms. Through this, I believe that not only for the nature preservation but also for the benefits of future generation of our community.
Okay, I will stop you there. And we will now continue with part three. For this part, I will ask you a question related to your response.
Yeah,
All right.
this is my first time.
That was good. That was good. I really liked it. I really liked it. I thought it was a really clever idea. All right, so good. You gave the kind of the origin of the idea. So you're following the steps, right? You gave the origin of the idea. So the origin comes from this extreme rainy season in the Philippines, which leads to a lot of inevitable floods. Just repeat
In-
this word after me: inevitable.
Inevitable.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, right? It's like inevitable. You really got to get the
In,
mouth moving. Inevitable.
inevitable.
Yeah, evitable.
Inevitable.
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 Yeah. Okay, it's good. Better. Yeah, good. All right. And then, so your idea is to have one person plant one tree, especially in mountainous areas with that lack vegetation. So, that was good. That was good. You used some really good vocabulary, by the way. I commend you on that. So, notice this word, everybody: erosion. That's a nice high
Erosion.
level academic word. Erosion is when surface soil, topsoil, is
Yeah.
removed from the ground, and it basically becomes bare, and eventually becomes like a desert or a bare rock, right? And it's no longer able to support
Hold
plant,
the soil.
yeah, and plant life, and then of course with that animal life as well. Okay, and then you did a really good job. You even explained it a bit further. So you said also trees help to retain rainwater and reduce the loss of topsoil. You said it would be beneficial for future generations, and then you wrapped it up. That was really good. You had some grammatical problems here and there, but nothing too major. And there was a little bit of awkward language, like you said, planting trees in empty mountain areas. It's not
Bear.
empty.
I think it's bear. I think
Yeah, it's bare. Yeah, it's bare mountain areas. Yeah, it's like empty mountain
I'm thinking
areas.
it's so
Yeah,
hard.
it's tough one, right? And if we want, so bare mountain areas is still a little bit hard to catch. So here is where you would want to maybe express a little bit more and say something like, I mean, areas which lack vegetation.
Okay.
Okay, so try this one. So people must plant trees in bare mountain areas. I mean places with a lack of vegetation.
People must plant trees.
Yep, just repeat after me, nice and loud. So each person
In
must,
luck.
okay, I'll say it one more time. Each person must plant at least one tree in a bare mountainous area which lacks vegetation.
Each person must plant trees in bare mountainous area which lack of vegetation.
Which lacks vegetation.
Which lack of vegetation.
Yeah. So tricky concept, right? I mean, there are situations where you really have to dig deep for that English because it's a complex situation that you're explaining, like a bare mountain area that doesn't have trees, right?
Yeah.
But overall, that was quite solid. So I would say you would get a 7.5 for that, for sure. 7 to 7.5, no problem. Overall, definitely between good and very good English, for sure. So if you were to correct a couple of those awkward phrases and some of that unclear pronunciation or concept that happened there, you would get a band 9 for that answer. It was overall, it was a very good response. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for volunteering and keep coming back.
Thank
You're
you.
definitely going to improve. Okay, Gian?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.
Yeah, God bless.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So Gian's idea is reforestation, right? It's basically the concept of reforestation, planting trees. And reforestation is very, very important for the environment. Absolutely. Okay. Let's see if we can find another one of our members here. I think... let's see. Who's in here? Who's in our group of members there? I'm looking for maybe Bogdan, who we haven't heard from in a little while, but I don't see Bogdan in here. So let's see. Masenate, we maybe haven't heard from in a little while as well. I'm trying to encourage you. Alexi, I'm not sure if I see you in here as well. Okay. All right. Let's give Helen a chance, one of our premium students, okay? I don't think we've heard from Helen this week, so let's see. Helen, are you ready? Also one of our premium members. Helen, I don't see you in the chat today, though. What's going on there? All right, Helen, if you're ready. So we've had an idea about saving the environment or protecting the environment in France, an idea to protect the environment in the Philippines, and now let's see where Helen is at and what idea Helen has come up with for protecting the environment. So Helen, if you're still with me, give me a sign here. Let me know. Say, yes, I'm ready. And then I will ping you. By the way, students, thank you so much for all of those thumbs up. Sometimes I forget or I neglect to tell you to support each other and give each other a thumbs up or a high five or some kind of a little sticker emoji. And I'm glad that many of you are paying attention to that. Raquea, Macron, that's great. Okay. All right, Helen, I'm not getting a sign from you. I don't know what's going on there, but that's okay. We'll jump to, last second. Helen, there you are. Okay. Hi, Helen. It's very quiet on your end. Are you having connectivity issues, I'm wondering? I think maybe that's why your response came so late as well. Helen, check out what's going on there. Check your internet, your router. It seems to me like you might be having some connection issues on your end. And then check back. If you don't figure it out for this class, it's okay. We've got that part 3 class coming up soon, right? So, all right. Divyanshi has been trying for a long time. All right, Divyanshi, let's give you a chance. Are you ready? If you're there, Divyanshi, let me know and we'll give this a shot. Okay.
Hello,
Hi, Divyanshi. How are you?
I'm very good, sir. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. Awesome, Divyanshi. I'm glad we can connect. Can you just tell everybody where you are right now in the world?
I am in Indore, the city of Indore in Madhya Pradesh in India.
Madhya Pradesh, India. Awesome. Okay. And do people pay attention to the environment in your area?
Actually, Indore is one of the cleanest city of India.
It's one of the
So
cleanest
yes,
cities.
people do pay attention.
That's great. I'm really happy to hear that. All right, we might discover why it's such a clean city shortly here. Okay, then I will start you off, and you can give me your response, and I will give you feedback after. How does that sound? All right, let's do
Hello,
it.
am I audible?
You are. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, here we go. So, talk about an idea you have had about protecting the environment. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
As it is known, one of the major crises in the Earth is currently facing is the problem of global warming. So my idea is basically to use bicycle instead of petrol and diesel vehicles, which emit a lot of pollution and are one of the major reasons of global warming. The origin of the idea was because of my father. My father loves to travel through bicycle, and he once told me that he would love it if he could travel through bicycle to work. So that's where I got the idea from. I think that some of the requirements to accomplish this vision is to aware the public instead of just showing the environmental benefits of using the bicycles. I think we should also show the public the health benefits of using the bicycles, and also by using bicycles we can reduce the noise pollution. That is caused by the cars and trucks that are on the roads. The result of this idea, if accomplished, would be the pollution would be reduced, and also it would definitely certainly help in slowing down the process of global warming.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there, and we will now continue with part 3. Okay, very good. Nice, students. Good job. Everybody's doing fantastic today. I love it. I can definitely tell a lot of you are paying attention to the instructions, and you did a really good job of applying that strategy that I said, where you can literally just take the words of origin, purpose, requirements and put them into talking about an idea. And you were doing that very, very well. Very nicely done. I commend you for it. Okay. You kind of kept with the similar topic as with myself and with Dewey with bicycles. Yeah, and obviously it is one of the big solutions. So as it is known, one of the major crises of the earth, it's a tricky one because it's one of many. So it's not one of the crisis, it's one of the crises. You use the plural here. So one of the major crises of the earth is that the earth is currently facing. So just slight grammatical corrections. That the earth is currently facing is global warming, ing. You missed the ing there. So there were a couple of word forms that were a little bit off, and there were a couple of slight grammatical mistakes, but they weren't major. So your grammar mistakes or your word form mistakes weren't affecting coherence too much. I was still able to understand mostly what you were saying. So your band score for that response would easily be at the 7 to 7.5 range. So it would be at the good 2, moving towards the very good English, okay? And then you said this idea is because of my father, because he loves to bicycle and he wants to bicycle to work. There was a little bit of missing information here. I wasn't sure why your father's not able to bike to work. Can you tell me a little bit about that? So why do you feel that your dad's not able to get to work?
Actually, he thinks that there is a lot of traffic. Indore is actually one of the cities which has a lot of traffic. Lot of traffic.
Right.
So because of that, he is not able to travel through bicycle.
Okay, so this is where in the 1-minute note-taking time, where you're taking notes, you want to come up with an idea or a solution for that, because I think that is a key part of your idea here. So what would be the solution to this situation to encourage more people so that they can actually bike to work? What does your city need? It
Okay.
needs bicycle routes, right? Dedicated bicycle routes or dedicated bicycle lanes. So here I would have said, and I felt this, I'm like, I think this piece is missing here. So the idea is because of my father, because he loves to bicycle, but he cannot bike to work because there is too much traffic and it is too dangerous. So my idea is to build a bike-friendly city with many bike routes and bicycle lanes. That's actually what they did in my city in the last 10 years. They completely rebuilt the downtown area with bicycle lanes and lights and everything for bikes. So it's become quite crazy, especially if you're driving a car. Okay, so just repeat this sentence after me. So this idea is because of my father. He loves to bicycle, but he has a hard time biking to work because there's too much traffic. It's too dangerous. So my idea is to build a bike-friendly city with many bike routes and bicycle lanes.
The idea is because of my father, because he loves to bicycle, but he can't bike to work because there is too much traffic and it is too dangerous. So my idea is to build a bike friendly city with many bike routes and bicycle lanes.
Fantastic. So having that piece of information would make your concept and your overall idea more accurate, and it would help to bump up your score closer to that band 8, 8.5. Okay, so be really careful about that kind of missing information and really try to visualize and think about that when you're taking notes. I loved how you said we can reduce noise pollution that's caused by cars and trucks, especially because I can hear it talking to you. I can hear the noise pollution in your city. It's loud. Holy
Yes, it is.
smokes. Yeah, it's so point in case. I'm sure all of viewers can hear it as well. So definitely a good idea to reduce some of that noise pollution. Absolutely. Okay, thank you so much for volunteering. Did you have any questions?
Actually, I had a question.
I was just going to ask, do you have a question, Divyanshi?
So as you earlier told that we should think about at least 1 to 2 good ideas. So are we going to get time to think about 1 to 2 ideas? Because then it would become a lot confusing that which idea should I pick?
Okay.
Because we just have 1 minute.
Yeah, so 1 minute is actually a lot of time. For your brain, it's a lot of time. Your brain makes about 2 trillion calculations per second. So 1 minute for a couple of ideas is a lot of time, as long as you practice that. So you have to practice that at home, Divyanshi. So it shouldn't take you more than 5 or 10 seconds to come up with 2 to 3 ideas. So if you think about it, right, 10 seconds is like 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1, all the way to 10 1,000. It's 10 seconds, okay? And in that time, I can think, okay, so bicycle lanes in the city is one idea. Okay, so not allowing vehicles into downtown is another idea. Okay, having recycling for wasted food in restaurants is another idea. So you should be, with these kinds of topics, you should be able to come up with 2 to 3 ideas in 10 seconds. And then don't get confused about which one to pick. Pick the one that you feel is the easiest to talk about. It's original. Okay, so if one of your ideas, for example, is like don't use plastic bags in grocery stores, don't choose that one, because you'll realize very quickly that like, okay, that's too common and it's already happening in most places, so I'm not going to choose that one, right? So you can kind of pick out which one's the best within that 10-second time, but you have to practice it, okay?
Okay, got
All
it.
right. But it is
Thank you so
very
much.
important, Devyanshi, that you think of at least 2 ideas, because so many times I watch candidates pick the first idea and then they realize too late that they can't talk about it, it's too difficult, or they realize it's really common, they're just repeating themselves. So you want to at least think of 2 ideas, okay?
Okay, got it.
All right. Okay, Devyanshi, we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
You're
you, Adrian.
welcome. Bye. All right. So that's Devyanshi. Let's give Devyanshi a thumbs up. And hey, whoever is in Devyanshi's city, yes, I think Devyanshi's got a good idea there, because that's a lot of noise to deal with for sure. All right, students, if you didn't get a chance to speak with me, speak with each other. You've got 30 minutes or so to do that before the next class. And in the next class, everybody will be able to join the student partner speaking on the website for a possibility to chat. So make sure to volunteer, build your confidence, get an idea of your IELTS level, okay? And join the premium IELTS package. You can do that by clicking the big red button that you literally see right there, which is still circled. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. It's right there. Okay. Yeah, Rukwea, fast class, right? Lots of exciting content information. So that's an hour and a half. When you're having fun, time flies, right? As they say. For general IELTS students, it's gieltshelp.com. It's this green background. Click that big red button. We're an IDP affiliate, British Council partner, IELTS Test Registration Center, certified agents. You're in the right place to get those high scores. We help hundreds and hundreds of students every day to achieve their IELTS goals and improve their communication for future endeavors as well. I'm back in 30 minutes, everybody, with speaking part 3. Of course, that will be related to speaking part 2. It will be specific questions on the topic of nature, the wisdom of Mother Earth, and ways to pay attention to our environment. Until then, visit ahelp.com, glshelp.com. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria. Thank you, Sarah, for moderating. Thank you for putting those instructions into the chat earlier. We'll see you all soon after a short break. Bye for now.